honor to be here today to welcome all of you and to thank you for making being here a priority on this beautiful first full day of spring. You may be asking yourself why a very, very small, very localized Buffalo not-for-profit is standing here at the podium when we're going to talk about a community-based and driven regional plan. But it's really actually very simple. The Erie County Community Climate Action Plan is a document that was created by and for the community. It was created through collaboration of many people and organizations. A lot of you are part of that today. I think at last count, it was about 70 different organizations collaborated on this project. And every one of those people and organizations was committed to creating a guideline that was going to help not only the county, but the residents and the businesses of the county to survive and be able to manage the impact that climate change is going to have for our community, and to make sure that our ecosystem is poised to meet those challenges in the future with minimal disruption to our day-to-day lives. Our collaboration, the Alliance collaboration with the county, did not begin with this plan. We started working very closely with the Erie County Department of Environment and Planning over 4 years ago on our habitat project, and it kind of created what I like to call as a gromance, which is kind of like a bromance, only among groups and organizations that find a synergy in our missions and in our purpose that bonds us so that we get to the point where we not only work with each other on a specific project that brought us together, but we continue that collaboration, and we continually find new ways to collaborate in the future as we go on, because we really enjoy that gromance. Back when we first started our habitat project, which, by the way, is highlighted in Chapter 10 of the Community Climate Action Plan, we had just finished certifying Buffalo as a National Wildlife Federation Community Wildlife Habitat. And then the then Erie County Commissioner of Environment and Planning, Tom Hersey, had heard about the project and said, "We need to help you get Erie County certified." And almost instantly, there was a Zoom meeting with 12 of the heads and program managers of various departments within the county, and me. It was a little intimidating because these people all had really great titles and really important responsibilities. And by introducing me to all of those partners within the county system, we were able to get Erie County certified as an NWF wildlife habitat community within less than 18 months. That was a project that the NWF told us would take 3 to 5 years to happen, but the collaboration between all of the different partners really made it happen quickly and easily. And that was really kind of the start of our gromance. Together, we helped build all of those connections. And it didn't end there. When the county first launched the full-out efforts to create this plan, they came to us and said, let's work together on this. Let's do some things that will get the community and the communities that you represent and that you work so hard in, make sure that they're part of this as well. And so we hosted walkabouts in our commercial and in our residential areas. And we talked to the people about how climate change was going to impact our aging housing stock. We talked about ways that the businesses could invest now, make small investments now, so that they were better prepared when climate change started to have negative impacts in the future. The county invited us to serve on some of the committees that were working on different sections of this plan. And they offered us opportunities to get early drafts of it and provide critique for both us and members of our community. And the Gromance, and then I got invited here today. So but the Gromance doesn't end here. It is going to continue because all the work we've been doing on this plan, the Alliance has been able to launch a few other initiatives that are coming up that we're going to be working both with the county and the city on as well. Because one of the biggest lessons that we learned from working on this project with the county was that our housing stock doesn't allow for good air quality in the houses where people live. We have one of the largest or one of the highest incidences of COPD, heart disease, asthma, low birth weight babies of any part of the city of Buffalo. And that's because we're surrounded on 3 sides by polluters. So we are launching an air quality monitoring program, which we got which we're able to do by a grant through the DEC. And part of it was because we used the information that we gained from this plan to help us secure that grant. So now we can help our residents breathe better air in their homes. We're also going to be working with the county, and you'll probably hear a little bit about this initiative later on today, on another project that's not only going to improve the quality and the health and the wellness of our residents, but also the environmental health for our community too. So as you learn more about the Community Climate Action Plan today, and as you actually read through it, and I hope you all take time to read through it, understand that this is a roadmap that the county, our organization, and so many others are going to be using to make sure that as things change, we continue to thrive. And now it's with great pleasure that I turn the podium over to someone who clearly fosters the notion of gromances, Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz.
Thank you, Ann, for welcoming us here today. The reason, also unstated by Ann, as to why she was the introducer from the Black Rock Riverside Alliance is we originally had planned on holding this press conference outside in Black Rock Riverside. But, as you know, with climate and issues that we deal with here, you don't always get those 65, 70-degree days in March like we had last week. So we decided to move in, and I want to thank Director Gary Siddell from the Buffalo Museum of Science and the Tiff Nature Preserve for allowing us the opportunity to be here today. And once again, welcome as the new director of the Museum of Science, Gary. Thank you for allowing us to be here today. As Ann noted, we are here to celebrate the release of the Community Climate Action Plan. This is something that has truly been years in the making. And it was, as was noted, a true community effort. And you see it by looking at all the individuals who are here today. When the former president pulled the United States out of the Paris Climate Accords, working with our Department of Environment and Planning, and I'm very pleased to have our Commissioner of Environment and Planning, Dan Castle, here, as well as our Deputy County Executive, Lisa Chimera. But we realized we could do better in our community. And I tasked the department and all the departments in Erie County government to find a way to meet the standards of the Paris Climate Accords. And I wasn't certain if we'd be able to do it, but I figured we might as well try. And we found out very quickly that not only could we meet it, but we were meeting it based on the actions that had been taken in Erie County government as a government. But we also found out as a community we were not up to the standards of greenhouse gas emissions and other actions that needed to be taken to ensure the future of our community. So that's where we came together with the Environmental Management Council from Erie County, which already existed, and gave them a task saying, we need to come up with a community climate action plan. We know our climate is changing. There may be some few people out there who refuse to admit what's going on, but all you had to do is look at our climate this year and in past years and what we've seen across the world, not just in our region, with ravaging wildfires, terrible storms happening in areas where they never had storms before. Us seemingly getting a 100-year or 500-year storm every other year in the winter. Our climate has changed. We need to do what we can to ensure a brighter future and a better future for all, including those who aren't even around yet, because we want to leave a planet for those who haven't been born yet so they can enjoy the wonderful things in our community and our planet just like we do. But if we don't take action, we're going to be really looking at something in the future that I don't think any of us want to deal with. And that's why I'm very pleased to be here to thank all the members of the, not only the Environmental Management Council, but the entire team, all the organizations that came together, the people that came together to come up with this Community Climate Action Plan. It is voluminous. I actually thought I had one here, but I see it sitting back there. Peter, if you can grab me one. Oh, Josh has got it, never mind. So when they started announcing the plan and I sat down with the members of the council, this wasn't just one or two items. These were hundreds of items that could be done across the community. And one of the questions I asked, and I've also told my leadership in Erie County government, is I don't want you to issue a plan just to issue a plan. I don't want to put this on a shelf and have it collect dust and nothing be done. I want these to be real actionable items that we can do in our community, if not today, within the next few years, to create a better, sustainable community for all. And they said, that's what this is. And I said, thank God, because I didn't think you were going to be wasting all that time coming up with something that was just going to sit on the shelf. But it's true. The action items in this plan are many, and they have to be done by many parts of our community, not just Erie County government or other local governments. But if done, we'll leave a better community for all. And that's the important thing. When we think about what we do in elected office or what we do in our positions in our community, don't we truly want to leave our community in better shape than when we took the jobs? Don't we want to say that we left a legacy and that our community is in better shape than it was 50 years ago, 100 years ago? Well, I can definitely say Erie County is in much better shape than it was just 15 years ago. But we still have these issues on the horizon that we have to deal with. And the biggest one in some ways is the climate issue. And the Community Climate Action Plan will help our community, help our organizations, help our local governments find a way to address the issues that we are all facing. It won't be easy to meet each of these items in the plan, and there's some of them that probably are not going to be met. But it's one of those things that reminds me, during the Great Depression, Franklin Roosevelt came up with ideas, and some of them worked, some of them failed. And he said one of the reasons he had so many different ideas to deal with the Great Depression was because it was so all-encompassing. It couldn't be done just by one or two plans. And his idea was try something. If it doesn't work, fine. Admit it failed, but move on. But the most important thing you can do is do something. Try something. And if it doesn't work, we'll find something else that'll work. And that's exactly what we've done with this plan. We are putting forth as a community a set of goals and a set of programs to hopefully create a better community for all. Maybe not every item in this will make a difference, but I know there are so many of them that will, that 10 years from now, we're going to be talking about this Community Climate Action Plan, not just as one or two items, but how a community came together to create a better, more resilient Erie County and Western New York for all, and that is something we can all be proud of. So thank you for your work. This was not easy. This took a lot of time, a lot of effort, and it would not have happened without all the community groups that worked alongside our departments in Erie County government, the Sheriff's Office, and others to create a plan, a comprehensive plan to address the climate crisis in our community. And it is something that I'm proud of what you did, and I hope you're all proud of your effort as well. Thank you. At this point, I'd like to introduce the chair of our Environmental Management Council for Erie County, who's been intimately involved not only in this project but others through the years, Jason Kulishevsky.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thanks, County Executive, as well. It's been my pleasure to serve as the chair of the Erie County Environmental Management Council. Essentially, we're a group of municipal representatives that help oversee the development of this plan, along with our subcommittee, Erie County's Climate Change Task Force, represented by many of the groups in this room and many of the organizations who helped develop this plan. My day-to-day work is with the University of Buffalo's Regional Institute. I support local municipalities working to take on, address the mounting issues related to climate change. And collectively, we all agree the science is in, climate change is real, and it's time to act now. We need to take steps to mitigate the impacts of climate change on our communities. As was mentioned, we're already seeing a lot of local impacts related to the changing climate. Summer temperatures that are higher, We're seeing more extreme weather events like the Christmas blizzard in 2022 and winter storm knife in 2014. These are supposed to be once-in-a-lifetime storms that happened, in just a short period of time in between them, right? Disasters like this cost our community lives and cost resources. And we hope this plan can help lay out a path towards a cleaner energy future that works for all of us, while we help prepare communities to be more resilient to the impacts of climate change as we move forward. This plan builds from previous planning efforts and ongoing county success to reduce greenhouse gas emissions within their operations through things like energy efficiency, transitioning to renewables, and updating technology. With a proven track record, Erie County's team developed this plan with an intentional focus on climate justice and worked to ensure that the actions in the plan will have a positive impact on our community and those most vulnerable to the ongoing climate crisis. This was an inclusive, equity-centered, community-wide effort that began in 2020 and eventually involved about 100 active volunteer stakeholders, 10 sector working groups that met monthly with county staff. Over 10,000 residents are currently engaged in the process, with hundreds of recommendations being baked into this plan as well. So with that, I wanted to keep my remarks short and just remind us all that we are in the midst of a climate crisis. Thank you all that helped develop this plan. Thank you to Erie County for your commitment to this work and to allow us to develop this inclusive planning process. And with that, I would like to welcome our next speaker, Josh Wilson from the Department of Erie County Environment and Planning. Thanks so much.
All right. So, well, first I just have some thank yous. I want to thank the county executive, the deputy county executive, Environment and Planning Commissioner Dan Castle, Deputy Commissioner Brian Lawrence. I want to thank you for the guidance and the capacity you've given to us as a team to work on this plan. But more than that, we see a lot of local governments tiptoe around this issue. You provide the assertive leadership that has allowed us to really step forward and make a difference on this. I want to thank Regional Director of DEC, Julie O'Neill is somewhere in here, so thank you, Julie. Climate Smart Communities program at DEC has funded us a number of steps along the way. So they provided grants that have been both the stepping stones and also a grant that helped fund the work that was done here. I want to thank the Erie County Legislature for unanimously adopting this plan, crossing party lines, showing that this is not a partisan priority, that this is something that all of our residents care about. All of us, like the county executive said, care about the legacy of leaving a planet that is healthy and protects our children and their children, right? And I also want to thank the EMC and the Climate Task Force. So Jason, he chairs our Environmental Management Council, and their Climate Task Force has been just instrumental to making this happen. Dr. Susan Clark chaired the task force, and every step along the way, they brought together the stakeholders and the community participation. And as Jason mentioned, we had 10 different work groups. And that brings me to the last person I want to thank is, I really want to thank, maybe most importantly, is Tracy Skowski. Tracy is our sustainability coordinator. Yeah, please. Tracy is our sustainability coordinator. She shepherded through just a really complex process. We had, as we said, 10 different stakeholder work groups with volunteers working for about 18 months on this. To make this happen without any consultant support is just super impressive, and we couldn't have done it without her. It would have been crazy to even think about it without Tracy on board, so thank you, Tracy. Okay. So others before me have hit on some of the key points about why this plan is important, the high level of community involvement that was involved in creating the plan, and how this creates a roadmap for addressing climate pollution in our community and also for making the community safer for our vulnerable residents from these climate disasters. What I really want to talk about today is how we're going to use this plan to get work done. We're at a time, it's really a unique time where state and federal government are providing unprecedented funding opportunities. There's resources out there, but those are competitive opportunities, and those entities really want to see that we can get work done. This plan demonstrates to our funders and to the community that we are thought out about this, that we've done the hard work to come together to really figure out what our priorities are, not just as a county government, but as a larger community. And it's really set the stage for success in bringing funds to Erie County to do this important work, to protect our residents, to protect our businesses from these impacts. So I think this is just really pivotal in setting the stage for us to move forward. We're already starting to see the fruit of this effort. And it was alluded to earlier by Anna Cooey. We won last fall, I think it will be first of several grant opportunities this year, where we won a $5.2 million grant to do a really complex project working on community trees all throughout the county. It has several different aspects. I want to, I'm going to read through this because it really is a complex project. The first aspect is it's going to be a community-wide community forestry plan to identify where and how we can increase the benefits of trees in Erie County communities, including an outreach component that's really going to reach out and figure out where these trees belong, how we can maintain them so we're not just plopping trees down in front of houses, but so we're really creating a plan for make them so the residents understand what we're doing and want the trees, and also so that there's a whole infrastructure around it to make sure the trees can live and thrive and provide the benefits to the climate that we're looking for. So that's a big piece of this. We're going to do a tree nursery at our county parks. So this is going to be a really significant project where we're going to plant trees. These trees will be for our local governments, so they'll feed into these other projects we're doing, provide free trees to governments and community organizations. And it's really innovative. It's going to build on other work we're doing with the Sheriff's Office, where we're going to allow incarcerated individuals to participate in a workforce training program as part of this tree nursery. So Alden correctional inmates will be able to come down to the parks, they'll be trained, they'll be working on these trees, and then these free trees will go into the community and really provide these benefits to our community residents. So the third aspect of the project is we're doing several nurseries, orchards, and tree planting projects with community partners. So Town of Tonawanda is one of our partners on this, Black Rock Riverside Alliance. The third one is Buffalo Freedom Gardens. So out in the community, not just on county land, building up tree projects. And the fifth one is workforce training initiatives, including a certificate course at SUNY Erie. Now these community engagement and workforce training projects, these are being led by Cornell Cooperative Extension and also Monarch of Infinite Possibilities. We've got Faustina Morrow here, so thank you, Faustina. We're super excited to have these partners doing this complex work. This project, and just to bring this around, this project just could not happen without the work we did developing this plan. This is not just a document on a shelf, as the county executive said, and it's not just the resulting plan, it's also the process that brought us here. We had years of meetings and collaborations and analysis working together. It really fundamentally was trust building. We had 6 weeks to put together this latest grant application. In 6 weeks, we put together this complicated project. And when we heard the feedback from USDA, what they told us was they only funded 1 in 6 projects, and most of those projects were not fully funded. So we were one of a small number of projects around the country that received full funding. That's the fruit of this effort, right? So I'm just incredibly proud. So there's more to come. I'm hoping these cameras are here for more projects in the near future because we have other grant applications that are both in the hopper, tens of millions of dollars of grant applications that are in the hopper, and also we have a number of grant applications that are about to go out. So, money isn't the ultimate answer, but what we're talking about is resources to do the innovative work that we worked on together to plan. So, again, thank you so much. Now, I want to introduce, last but certainly not least, Miss Gail Wells from Buffalo Freedom Gardens. Gail is just her reputation precedes her. She's the founder and director of Buffalo Freedom Gardens. She is a master gardener and has just been a leader in our community in bringing urban residents into nature and just working on just bringing these benefits of nature to our community in just all kinds of innovative ways. I'm super happy you're partnering with us on this grant, and thank you for being here today. And I will
Well, first of all, I'm so thankful to God for introducing me to nature very, very young. And so when the county legislator was speaking and talking about the time in history, the Depression, my grandmother lived through that, and she survived it by growing her own food. Remember, there weren't many programs developed before the Great Depression that really provided us with resources. So I have to say I'm happy I'm born during this time when government is responsive and is able to help us with the problems that we have in this world. I'm standing here before you, but I'm not standing here alone. I represent a community that has worked with nature for the entirety of our existence on this earth. So I'm going to be introducing some concepts to you, like Afro-Indigenous ways of knowing and growing that you may not be familiar with, and I won't be able to tell you the deepness in that, but please feel free to talk to me, to go to my website, and I want you to know that I am standing here in the spirit of Harriet Tubman. That's why it's called Freedom Gardens. The spirit of Fannie Lou Hamer, who had Freedom Farms, and she came from Mississippi, just like my mother and my grandmother were born in Mississippi, my grandmother born on the plantation. And we knew from what we know from a modern food advocate, Leah Penniman, who wrote Farming While Black, and she said, to feed yourself is to free yourself. So I'm representing 150 gardeners in the city of Buffalo, on the Lower West Side and on the east side of Buffalo, that have taken what we have done in the fruit belt. They are growing their own food in their gardens, right? And so what we're doing as part of this project is we're extending their ability to grow more than food. We are reintroducing food trees, fruit trees, and nut trees to everyone in the Buffalo area that wants one and needs one. So I want you to know I am not standing here alone. I am standing here with all of the magic and power that I've learned about trees and in guiding people in what they do. Whew. That's heavy burden, right? So what I want you to know is I love trees. When I was in college, they nicknamed me Nature Girl because I came to Buffalo from Harlem, and I came with plants and a goldfish. So I want you to know about trees and the forest ecosystems. So I have some notes that are going to keep me on task. So many of us may know that trees remove carbon from the atmosphere. It helps us breathe by producing oxygen. It filters and absorbs stormwater and reduces flow to sewer systems. Trees help in the management and control of flooding and soil erosion. Trees also provide habitat for birds and insects and animals. It reduces heat by cooling the air and providing shade. It provides a history of climate information because if you cut down a tree, it has these rings around it, and the rings are the history of every climate issue that has happened since the beginning of time. I want you to know trees precede us. They're the oldest living organism on the planet is a tree. They have so much to teach us. They're part of our scientific information. Remember that story you learned about how we got the law of gravity? And Newton was sitting under a what? An apple tree. And the apple fell on his head. And guess what? The law of gravity. Now, that story may not be exactly true, but many elements of that story is true. If this is the longest living organism on the planet, it could teach us a lot about life and how to grow old. Trees are 4,000 years old. There's a lot of information contained in a tree. So when I look at our role, I see us kind of like providing the spiritual aspect of what we're doing, because Mother Nature is sacred and she needs to be honored. And the trees are one way that we honor her. So we are teaching people how to live their lives. And so I want you to know that the mission of Freedom Gardens is through using accessible resources, educational programs, and community support, we want to transform underutilized land into vibrant, nurturing, and healing gardens by fostering a love of nature and growing fresh, locally grown food. We aim to reduce food insecurity and erase food apartheid, promoting self-sufficiency, and to cultivate a sense of community resilience. Freedom Gardeners are committed to building a more equitable and just future where families have access to nutritious, affordable food, clean air, and water. We believe that the social, economic, and environmental factors that lead to chronic disease and unhealthy living can be erased if communities are given the tools and education to be healthy and well. And so as a partner in this project, we are building a food forest, the first ever in Buffalo. I like to be the creator of first. We were the first to look at homegrown. And now we are extending that to a food forest. And a food forest uses the concept of permaculture, you can look that up, to grow in a natural way so that you do not have to use as much water, you don't have to weed as much, you use nature. Didn't I tell you nature is the best teacher? You use nature to grow food. And what we're going to do is use this in cooperation with my partners, and I have two of them here, the English gardener and Sharon Bachman from CCE, who runs the Master Gardener Program, and Grassroots Gardens. So I want you to know that we are going to grow this garden in the JFK Park. That needs to have a plaque. The JFK Park is in the original neighborhood that African Americans developed when they first came to Buffalo, by the way. It's the first area for the city, the Ellicott District. So we are going to put a food forest there on about a half an acre of property, and we are going to use it as a scientific laboratory that we can use to teach people how to grow in a way that is sustainable without insecticides and pesticides and all of that. We are going to teach them how to grow their own medicine and their own food. And we're going to also teach them how to live a healthy and well life and how to transfer that information to grow their communities where they are safe and well and can be productive. So I think that's a great use of the money that we've gotten from this project. I want to thank you very much from the bottom of my heart because to do this work, and I have a little tree quote that I may be able to pull up. but maybe not. I know it by heart. And is that trees are the poems that God has used to tell us how to live our lives, and it's written in the stars. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Gail. I appreciate everyone coming here. Any media questions we'll take off to the side, but as was noted, this is just the beginning. There's a lot of more work that's going to go on in the community to create a better, more climate resilient Erie County, not only for today, but for future generations. Thank you all.